Well, let's practice that here. We're given two equations. Now that we know, you should, when you're trying to plot a line, you should write the generic form of the slope, the generic equation for slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Then you write your equation underneath that, and that helps you determine what is m. Well, if y equals mx plus b, and on my line y equals negative 1/2 x plus 4, well, m must be negative 1/2, and b must be 4. Now, if it was minus 4, b would be negative 4. But b is the y-intercept. So if b equals 4, you have a point on your line already. You should begin with b. Begin with b. You know the x value is 0. The x-coordinate is 0 at the y-intercept, and it tells you where the line crosses the y-axis. It crosses at positive 4. So I've already got 1 point on my line. I only need one more point in order to draw the line, and I can get it using the slope. Because if the slope is negative 1/2, and we know slope is delta y over delta x, then I can just say, okay, well, negative 1 over 2 is negative 1/2. Or 1 over negative 2 is negative 1/2. And so from your beginning point, from your b, from your y-intercept, you can do negative 1 for change in y, down 1, and positive 2 for change in x. So down 1, right 2. There's a point on our line. And normally you would just stop right there and draw the line. I just want you to see that if you had chosen to make the change in y positive 1 and the change in x negative 2, so if you had gone up 1, then for delta x you go left 2, that point's also on the line. So it doesn't matter how you represent those negative slopes, as long as one's positive and one's negative. Because we know a negative divided by positive is negative, and positive divided by negative is negative. But in any case, I think you can start to see this line, which I will do my best to draw, but the drawing will be better on your paper. Okay, here, y equals mx plus b. So what is m for this line? M is 2. What is b for this line? B is negative 6. Be careful if it's plus b, but you have minus 6. You have to remember that subtracting 6 is the same as adding negative 6. So b is negative 6. So let's begin with b. Begin with the y-intercept. It intersects the y-axis at negative 6. And then let's use the slope to get a second point. Delta y over delta x equals 2. Well, it's not represented as a fraction, but we can represent it as a fraction. 2 over 1, right? 2 over 1. And so from our beginning point, the change in y is positive 2, so you go up 2. The change in x is positive 1, so you go right 1. And you could keep applying that slope. Up 2, right 1, up 2, right 1, up 2, right 1. You can actually see where these lines are going to intersect. Not only do they intersect, but they intersect at right angles. Now that will rarely happen, but it does happen when your slopes are negative reciprocals, opposite reciprocals. Like the opposite of negative 1/2 is 1/2. And then when you take the reciprocal of 1/2, you get 2. So if you flip the fraction and take the opposite sign, you'll get perpendicular lines. So coplanar lines with, I always forget where this stuff's going to land, sorry. Coplanar lines with opposite reciprocal slopes are perpendicular. Coplanar lines, lines in the same plane that have opposite reciprocal slopes, are perpendicular lines.